Right, welcome everybody to a brand new Blue Guardian Trader interview. Today we're here with my friend Jaymo, and he's going to be talking about how he managed to make over $15,000 with Blue Guardian. We're going to talk about the ways in which he specifically traded to make this profit and how you can potentially do it as well as going into his journey. So welcome, bro. Thanks for chatting with me today.
Hey, nice to be here, man.
So, bro, what got you started with trading?
Well, honestly, I think like how most people fall into it. I was browsing Instagram, I see these guys driving, Lamborghinis, flashing money, nice houses, villas, and I was like, shit, dude, my job doesn't even pay. So these guys are living such a flashy lifestyle, and dive a little bit deeper into it and you actually find out like, hey, these guys are traders. So that's kind of what got me into it. I also wanted to make those six figures and drive Lambos and stuff like that. But
so we kind of started off at a similar kind of time, and we've known each other for a while. I know the journey you went through, but for those guys watching, they've seen they've clicked on this video for a specific reason, right? They've seen that you've made like really good payouts with Blue Guardian. And by the way, he's made loads of other payouts with other prop firms as well. And it's been consistent for over a year and a half. How have you managed to get to that point? In your journey, right? It wasn't always like that. So how did it start off for you? When you started off trading, you were searching for, that lifestyle that a lot of people were talking about. I think a lot of us. How did you start out? How was the journey in the beginning?
Like everyone else, I was working a job. I was actually working a factory job, and the time was very limited. You're not allowed to be on your cell phone while you're working in a factory. And at that time, I was still searching, what strategies are profitable. And you would know as well, at the time, the buzzword was ICT, ICT, SMC. And I started looking into that. I actually started with Baby Pips first. That was my very first website that I went through, Baby Pips. I learned everything, what is a pip, all the basics. And then I started diving more into the strategies. I went from trend line trading, which is also swing trading. Then I went down to SMC. I learned a lot of SMC. I went through a lot of courses. I started going through ICT's videos. I learned almost every strategy on ICT. I just couldn't get something that worked for me. I was fishing out like everyone else. I was looking for that, 90% win rate strategy that you see all over the place. So I was just fishing for that the whole time, looking for that golden nugget. I want that great escape strategy. And after all that time, I started eventually learning that that golden nugget is not real. There's people that create strategies about it. Most of them are clickbait. I think a lot of people started realizing that. So what I done was I started building something that worked for me, because like I said, I was working a job at the time. So a lot of these ICT strategies or SMC strategies require you to be on your chart like 4 to 5 hours a day. I didn't have that luxury because I was working a full-time job. So what I did was I started creating myself a strategy where I took a bunch of knowledge from all these different courses that I learned. I started building something around the times where I could trade. So while I was working, you have like your lunch breaks. One of my strategies fell within my lunch break time. So I was actually trading through my lunch breaks. Sometimes I had to go and hide at work, go to the bathroom or something, take a peep at the chart. And one of the other sessions was New York session, which is my most profitable session, which is what I mainly trade now. And that is when I just came off of work. So long story short, for 2.5 years, I was not profitable at all. I was bouncing around between strategies, and that was one of my biggest issues. That's what took me so long to become profitable, is that I was stuck bouncing strategies the whole time, searching for that golden nugget. And eventually I realized, I built something that works for me. I just had to get the stats, and I backtested. I saw that it worked. I proved to myself that it worked. All I needed was time.
Yeah, so you took a while to actually figure out what worked best for you, okay? And a lot of people are out there looking for like a one-size-fits-all strategy that is like cookie cutter, is going to be super profitable, but also works for them in their time frames, has a high risk reward, but also a high win rate. Don't need to trade a lot of time every day, maybe spend 5-10 minutes on the charts. People are always out there looking for something that perhaps doesn't exist, or they're looking for a strategy that's too good to be true, right? So like you said, looking for the golden nugget. When did it dawn on you that you were never going to find the golden nugget, but that trading was possible if you just found something that slotted in with your life? When was that point that you realized that golden goose that lays the golden egg doesn't exist, but it is possible and you need to figure out your own path?
Okay, so basically the moment that hit me, you know, everyone gets that aha moment, that's what they call it. When I got that moment, it was basically, I was still searching for that golden nugget, like we just said. I was looking for that 90% win rate, 1 to 3 risk to reward type of strategies. That does not exist. That is, maybe it exists somewhere, but no one's gonna tell you, you know? So that's what I was looking for the whole time, and I backtested months on end, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trades. I couldn't get it to work, and then I started going through my trades and realized, you know, with something as simple as a 60 to 70% win rate, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, that is more than enough to be profitable. You know, the more you search, the more you're just gonna fall off the wagon. You're gonna start going back to different strategies. You're never gonna become profitable because you're gonna keep searching instead of actually doing. So when I found the strategy that I currently trade now with, you know, 60% win rate and it runs 1 to 2 risk reward ratios, it's profitable. It's very profitable. So that's when I really just stopped searching and I locked in with one strategy, and I've been trading that strategy for 2.5 years. I did not change it. Even though, you know, you do go through losing streaks, I endured those losing streaks. When I had my losing streaks, I went and backtested to reassure myself that it's not the strategy that's failing, it was just the market conditions that we were going through at the time. So I really just stayed consistent for the last 2.5 years, and my results speak for itself.
What made you lock in with the specific strategy that you're trading at the moment?
So what really made me lock in was I started running numbers. Like everyone else, you know, you're gonna get to that point where, you know, you got a solid strategy, everything is there. You know, you got 2-3 years of backtest data. So you start running numbers, and I told myself, you know, if I only had 100k prop account, like this is how much I would do this month, this is how much I would do this month. And the only way that you can make it happen is if you actually forward test it. You know, backtest is good enough. It's there to tell you I am profitable, but you need to replicate it in live market conditions. And when I started doing that, you know, I done exactly what I done in backtesting. So all you need is just a prop account and just locking in. That is all you need. You just need to lock in, and a lot of people, they don't do that. They stay on demo accounts, or they keep, you know, still searching for that golden nugget, and that's where most traders get stuck actually.
You would say that probably the biggest issue that traders have is constantly hopping between strategies or looking for the next shiny object, right? What tips would you give to someone that is kind of stuck in that cycle of trying to find the next big thing, or try to find the strategy that's going to completely change their life and make them thousands and thousands of % on their account? Because people get stuck in that cycle, right? And they never get out. They end up never making money because they're constantly searching for something better. How did you break that cycle?
Well, if I had to give advice to someone that is still stuck in that loop, I would tell them, find something that is simple, something that you can understand, that's not overcomplicated and is easy to replicate. Once you have that, figure out what is the best risk to reward ratio for that strategy. Once you have all the stats down, you gotta just make sure it's you have a solid mindset. So mindset for me is everything. I even teach it to my community. That is what makes you profitable. So you have a strategy in place. Anyone can trade that strategy. So if I give you my strategy, you might be profitable, but the next guy might not be profitable. What is changing? You guys probably take the same trades. So why is one not profitable and another one is? It's because the other one you know, when you're in a running trade, they're closing early. So a lot of people struggle with psychology, and I tell everyone, if you have a working strategy, you need to also make sure that that strategy complements your psychology as well, so they work hand in hand. Otherwise, you're going to have a good strategy, but you're going to still fail because your mind is not in the right place.
And what kind of steps can you take to kind of make the psychological part of trading easier? We've spoken about like your trading strategy. Are there any kinds of tools that you've used personally to get closer to making your trading psychology easier to deal with?
Okay, so I'm going to put this very simple. There's only two things I ever use to actually make my strategy work. Okay, first thing is backtesting, FX replay. Dude, that becomes your best friend. You need to understand your strategy, and you need to understand the history of your strategy. If you don't have that, then you're going to be lost. You're going to be trading something that you have no idea what the history looks like. So backtest, backtest, backtest. Secondly, Google spreadsheets. It's going to become your best friend. Keep all your data on Google spreadsheets, or if you have a journal, you know, there's plenty of journal softwares out there. Journal every single trade. It's a business at the end of the day. So you need to look back. Why am I not profitable this month, right? Go back to your journal, find out why you're not profitable, where you're closing trades early. That's how you start fixing all your issues. And for me, like, I'm a big believer in that. I have to journal all my stuff.
Right. And one thing that I've noticed with traders is that they sometimes get stuck in that kind of back testing phase, to where it's almost like a video game for them, right? They just keep clicking bar replay, keep clicking bar replay, and they end up almost getting too scared to take real trades. How do you feel about like getting involved in the market? Should you stay on a demo account until you're ready, or is getting in with a smaller live account or prop account worthwhile while you are collecting data or forward testing?
Right, so I can only talk from like my own experience. I don't know how everyone else can actually handle a live account or whatever the case may be, but what I would always suggest is try and trade demo account. If you're very new to trading, trade a demo account until you understand how lot sizes work, all those things, how executions work, limit orders, or, you know, all the bells and whistles. Just be on demo for about a month or so, and then from there you can either move to a prop account or a very small live account, because your mindset is never really going to grow if you're going to stay on demo account the whole time, because like you said, it's going to become a game. You know, you're going to take a trade and you're going to go 30% risk. So you're going to risk 30% of your account. That is not realistic. You're not going to go and risk, you know, 30% on a 100k account. No one is going to do that. That's an actual experienced trader. So definitely don't spend too much time on demo accounts. If you want to move to the next step, prop firms are there. It's a good challenge. Like their profit targets and their max drawdowns, I use that as, you know, goals for myself. So if you're becoming a profitable trader and they tell you, you know, you need 8% to pass this account, that is a goal. So you can lock in, and it will actually help you become more consistent, because now you have to claw your way up to get to that profit target. If you can replicate that and you can actually pass accounts, you're already a profitable trader.
Right. It's the same thing that I keep seeing over and over again. People trading demo accounts is kind of the same as if you want to get into shape and you are trying to learn about how to you know, go to the gym, and you're trying to learn about the different exercises you can do. If you sit there watching YouTube videos on the best form you can have in the gym, you're not going to actually build any muscles. You're going to walk into the gym and you're going to end up being super weak. You're not going to be able to lift anything. So you need to get your ass in there and actually get some skin in the game, so that you can start to build confidence in what you're doing, i.e. build your trading muscles, right? You need to build that psychological muscle for trading in your mind, so that you can stick to your trade plan. So a lot of people just end up stuck in front of YouTube watching trade strategies or watching technical analysis videos, but they don't actually get in there with skin in the game. So if you're trading a demo account, it's the equivalent of lifting a bar with no weights on it, right? It doesn't mean anything. You're just moving. Nothing's happening. You're not building any muscle. You're not actually getting any exercise in. So getting in even with a small account, because you don't want to get in with a huge prop account on your first go around. It's like going into the gym and picking up the biggest weights in the gym. You're going to break your arms if you try and lift the biggest weights in the gym. It's the same with trading. If you get the biggest account, you're not going to be able to handle that, and you're going to blow it, and you're never going to be able to come back from that. So getting started small really helps. That being said, like, prop firms and trading prop accounts is one of the biggest factors that turned me into a profitable trader. What did trading prop accounts do for you as a trader, and your journey?
Oh man, like for me, like I said, I was still working a job, and I mean, I was semi-skilled. I wasn't a full qualified worker, so I wasn't getting like the best paycheck. So for me, you know, putting $500 or $1,000 in a broker account, that is like 2-3 months salary. In South Africa, you know, as difficult dollar conversion. So when I started finding out about prop accounts, I was like, you know, you can get a 10K account for $90. Like, what is this? So in the beginning, you know, I was trading 5 and 10K accounts, and one of the biggest problems for me was I started becoming profitable, but I stayed on the small accounts for a little bit too long instead of using the profits from those 5 and 10Ks to actually scale myself to bigger accounts. But prop firms gave me the leverage to actually start earning in the game, you know. And then eventually, like with the profits from prop firms, I could now invest it into my personal accounts, or I can invest into bigger prop firm accounts. But a lot of people also don't understand, you can go from a 10K account, one payout immediately can set you up to a 100K account. So the scalability is very, very insane. Like if I was trading $50, I probably still would have had a small account today, you know?
Yeah, the mindset shift is just crazy, because at the end of the day, if you're trading a small account, what you could afford at the time, you have to think in terms of how much can I flip this small $100, $50 account? And that's not realistic. That's not how trading works. Flipping accounts is not going to be consistently possible. That's just not how, you know, trading isn't an unlimited money glitch. Trading is about making small, consistent gains. So prop firms give you the platform to have a large amount of capital that you can make small monthly profits on. That's what it's about. It's about making 2, 3, maybe 4% in a month, and that's great for you. If you can do that month in and month out, you're actually doing better than most hedge funds anyway. So already, like, people are expecting 100%, 200%, 300% gains in a month, when, you know, the best hedge funds in the world can't even make 2 or 3%. So the fact of the matter is, prop firms allow you to think in terms of being a professional trader rather than having a small account and trying to flip it, which is more of being a gambler. So you're changing your mindset with prop firms from being a gambler to being a profitable trader. Don't get me wrong though, prop firms can 100% still be used to gamble your money away. Buying those prop accounts can be seen as almost buying your lottery ticket, right? And then full porting it on gold is the same thing as, you know, as buying a lottery ticket. So it can go both ways, but prop firms in general force you to have a more professional mindset towards trading. Did you feel that kind of mindset shift when you got started with prop firms?
Like I said, I went from demo trading. I did mess around with a live account a little bit, but I mean, it was so small. You have to basically gamble like 30-40% of your margin, dude, just to get in a trade. But when I started getting into prop firms, my very first account, I was reckless because I didn't really understand. They said, like, you know, your max drawdown per day is 4%, I would be risking at least 3%. So I didn't fully understand, but yeah, prop firms actually made me into the trader I am now, because I started understanding that if your profit target is 8%, you don't need to do it in one day. You don't have to make 8% in one day. You can do it over 1 week, 2 week, maybe even a month. You know, you can take the nice slow approach, the more slow and consistent approach. Once I started realizing that, my trading started, I started being a more calm trader, not a reckless trader. Everyone goes through that phase, but taking prop firm challenges definitely helped me a lot with consistency.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? At the end of the day, if you've got this small broker account that you're trying to turn from $100 into $1,000, you can sometimes take a loss and you're like, oh my word, like I've taken a loss, and because I've just gotten in with so much risk, my account's like halved itself, because you're trying to rush to make enough money to make it make sense, right? You want to quit your job. You're not going to quit your job with a $100 broker account. You're just not. However, if you're able to get a 25K account for whatever, $100 or so, that's enough potentially, because if you make your 5-6% on that account, that's a few $1,000s, right? So realistically, that's what props do. Props take your small amount of money and make it worthwhile you trading. Because if you make 5% on your $100 account, that's like $5, right? That's not going to be worth trading 2 months for or a month for. Whereas if you've got your 25K account, you're going to make a couple $1,000s, which is worthwhile, right? And that's the whole point. You can take your time with prop firm accounts. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you need to flip any accounts or do any kind of unrealistic trading. So for me, that was the real big game changer as well. But and one of the biggest experiences for me was getting my first prop firm payout, because that's when everything starts to become real, right? And I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that feeling. How did it feel when you got your first prop firm payout?
Oh, bro. I know whoever's watching this is gonna have a blast, but my very, very first prop payout was it was $29 something. I was happy, bro. I was a working guy. I finally passed my account. I got a $29 payout, and I told myself, you can do this the whole time. And you know the whole story about quitting the job and all that. But safe to say, I ended up blowing that account very quick, because I knew that now I could make money. But yeah, long story short, the feeling was really good, because after all that time bouncing around between different strategies, late nights, backtesting, research, data, finally getting a payout and seeing like, hey, I passed the challenge, I managed to actually get paid, like this is unreal. All I need to do is go from the 5K account, and I'll start going higher and higher and higher and scaling up, and then next thing you're on 200K accounts, stacking them. It's unreal. Like I said, it's so scalable. Like, people don't understand, a lot of guys, they end up getting a payout, blowing it. I'm going shopping and I'm gonna spend. Start with 5-10K accounts, scale it up. From there you can go from a 10K to 100K very quickly.
Right, and you've made trading your career now, so it's one of those things. It's one of your dreams, and you've actually done what a lot of people wish they could do, and that's make trading full time. How do you suggest people watching this episode go about making trading a full-time job? Because a lot of people rush into it. What do you suggest to people that are thinking about going in that direction? How do they approach it?
Okay, again, I'll speak from my experience. my biggest regret was not having a big buffer. So what I would say is, if you have 1 year and more, 1, 2 years, 3 years of savings built up, because you need that cushion to fall back on. The market goes through different cycles. You're gonna have 1, 2 dry months every year. It does happen. That will give you a big sense of relief when those months do happen, because you have such a big savings built up already. So taking that leap from leaving your job and being a full-time trader at home, you need to have some sort of a cushion. If you don't have that cushion, all that stress that you're going to be feeling of actually pushing yourself to get payouts, it's all going to reflect on your trades. And that's where you could end up seeing yourself blowing accounts, taking revenge trades, reckless trades. So yeah, definitely have a cushion, have some support for yourself before you make the big move of actually dropping your job and going as a full-time trader. You have to have a cushion. There must be some sort of safety net.
And I think it's very important as well, because trading is so stressful. Because if you don't have that safety net, you are going to feel like you're under pressure, right? And if you're under pressure, you make stupid decisions, and trading is just decision making. That's what trading is, right? So if you've got that buffer, you've got peace of mind, and you're able to take your time, you're not in a rush, you don't have any goals you have to hit for that month, or you can't pay the rent, right? You don't need to make money to pay the rent and put food on the table. You've got that covered. You're able to start to build up more of a buffer for yourself. And if you have a bad month, it's not the end of the world, because remember, at the end of the day, trading's a business, and like any business, trading has quiet months, right? Trading has expenses. So if you start a business tomorrow, you could have your business getting broken into at night and stuff getting stolen. Similarly, if you start trading tomorrow, you could make a mistake on your trading account, blow that account, and violate one of the rules of a prop firm, right? That's part of the game. It's one of the expenses you have to be accounted for, and there has to be allowances for that. Otherwise, you're going to be on edge the entire time, and you're going to end up just messing up the entire business that you have. And I don't think people realize that at all. I wanted to talk about your trading strategy, bro, because it's the same strategy that I trade. And fun fact, the strategy that I trade because of Jaymo over here, because I was trading a lot more complex styles. I was trading ICT as well, and it worked. It got me profitable. I know Jamie saw some profit as well, just trading ICT. But one of the things that I realized is that trading a complicated strategy like ICT with loads of different concepts and different entry models can be overwhelming. What made you gravitate towards trading your more simplified approach? And can you describe how it works briefly?
Okay, well, firstly, I'll say the reason why I stuck with it this long is because it's very simple, right? I tell everyone that, I can teach a monkey to do this. It's really that easy. And yeah, the reason why I stuck with it is because, it takes like 2 hours out of my day. Like what is 2 hours in a day? So I come every day to the chart. Okay, this is a strategy, really, really simple. I come to the chart every single day, New York AM, right? So the CME open, not New York open, the CME open. So that would be 9:30. All I do is look for support and resistance. Okay, must be swing support and resistance, and I use the 5-minute time frame. And then I just use a fixed stop loss. I will explain it on video as well. But I use a fixed stop loss, and I just make sure that I'm trading in line with the higher time frame trend. Okay, so that's one thing that I learned. Trend is your friend. Never go against the trend. Trying to trade reversals is suicide, right? That's an account killer. Don't trade reversals, because for us to predict that the market is going to turn at a certain point is the odds is very against you. So I just make sure that I'm trading in line with the higher time frame, knowing where I am on the market. So that's why I added, the only indicator that I ever use is the SMA, simple moving average. And that is just to remind me what the direction is while I'm trading on the 5-minute time frame. So if, for example, Nasdaq, we bullish on the 4-hour time frame, on the 5-minute time frame, if I'm bullish as well, I know all of my buy trades are going to be slightly more risk than all of my sell trades, because you will be able to get sells and buys in a bullish market, right? But buys for me in a bullish market on the 4-hour would mean that I can go higher risk. Sells, I'll go lower risk because there's less probability you're going to get a full runner on the sell. And that pretty much sums up the whole strategy. I mean, it's really that simple.
Honestly, like when I saw the results of your strategy, I had to try it out. And this was over a year and a half ago that I switched. And I still got a lot of flack from switching from trading ICT, like, oh, you switched, it obviously wasn't working for you. ICT worked fine for me.
I saw the payouts when you were trading ICT. It worked.
It worked just great. I was making money. But when you're trading a complicated strategy, it becomes less sustainable to keep up the same strategy over and over and over again, where there's so many different variables that you have to track. It can be complicated. And when you're trading a strategy like yours, that's just simply looking at 2 different zones and you're waiting for a breakout of those zones. It makes your decision making so much easier. And what ends up happening with people is they end up getting decision fatigue because their strategy is too complicated. There's so many different variables that they have to track in their strategy, different entry models of their strategy. If you've just got 2 or 3 different variables in your strategy, which for us is just looking at 2 zones and then waiting for price to break those zones and getting in on the entry. It's that easy. So having a simple strategy is the easiest way to combat decision fatigue, to combat FOMO, to combat greed. All of those psychological issues are actually fixed by having a simple strategy. So what we're going to do in the next video, guys, is we're going to show you that exact strategy in full. You'll be able to learn the entire strategy that we use, myself and Jaymo. Jaymo's made over $15,000 with Blue Guardian. I've made over $40,000 with Blue Guardian alone, and over 6 figures with other prop firms, multiple 6 figures with other prop firms as well. And we're going to go over the exact strategy that we trade on a daily basis. And before you think, oh, it's easy for you to say that and you're cherry picking trades, we trade the strategy every single day live in front of hundreds of people, live on stream. Okay, and that's in our Discord. You can join it for free as well. We trade it live on stream, and we've recorded every single live stream for over a year and a half now. So we've got the records to prove it as well. So in the next video, guys, on the Blue Guardian channel, we're going to be going over step by step how our setup works. It's deadly simple. Like, it's absolutely like a brain dead monkey could trade the strategy. The difference is you need to stick with it, right? And the reason it's easier to stick to is because it's simple. But it doesn't mean it's easy. Just because it's simple doesn't necessarily mean it makes trading easy. It makes it easier, but you still have to have a level of discipline, right? And you have to stick. So we're going to show you that in the next video. So make sure you stick around and have your eyes peeled for the next video we release, where we'll show you everything step by step. We'll show you the results we've had trading this strategy, as well as show you how it works in real market conditions, the pairs we trade, the time frame we trade, everything. We're going to give it all to you guys totally for free, just for being a subscriber of the Blue Guardian channel. So that's it for today's trader interview. Thank you very much, Jaymo. We're going to get going on the next video showing everybody how it works. But thank you very much for chatting with us today so far.
Well, thanks for having me, man.